I've always been a fan of heavy metal. And you know, you just can't beat pumping your fist up and down, wherever. In public, at the bookstore, at the library, at a show, at the newsstands. You know, wherever you can find heavy metal, bang your head. And I tell you, there's something special that makes you want more, makes you crave more. When you see Maiden, oof, you'll be screaming for more, I'll tell you that much. And some wear lace, some wear denim, but me, I've always been a leather kind of fan. Yeah, you're in for a real... Yep, it just caught up to me, yeah. Longest accidental innuendo ever. I need a cold shower now. Welcome to Metal May, where we'll be reviewing video games based on two of my favorite things. Heavy metal music and video games. What were you thinking about? I'm on to you. I've been a fan of heavy metal music since I was about 15. First time I heard Metallica. Now, heavy metal music doesn't just mean metal. Sometimes it could mean magazines. Wait, what? Heavy Metal is an underground magazine loosely based on a similar sci-fi and horror series released by the French called Metal Hurlant. Heavy Metal magazine debuted in 1977 and is still in existence today, available in print form a few times a year and mostly on their website. By injecting a series of short stories with large doses of violence, dark visions, and loads of sexuality, this magazine lives up to its musical counterpart in more ways than just the title. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll were heavy influences on this series, with every cover of each issue looking like something from a heavy metal album cover. The magazine franchise led to the creation of a cult favorite animated piece of cinema of the same name in 1986. Heavy Metal, in addition to a pseudo-sequel that was tied to the franchise by name only. Heavy Metal 2000 was released direct-to-home video in the summer of 2000, so the title fits. So, why am I telling you all this? What's it got to do with today's review? Well, today we'll be reviewing Heavy Metal FAKK2 on the PC. Say, what does that name stand for anyways? Heavy metal feelings are... known killers? Heavy Metal FAKK2 was released in mid to late 2000, shortly after the prequel movie of a similar title. Developed by Ritual Entertainment and published by Gathering of Developers Inc., FAKK2 is certainly a product of its time, remaining only available on big box disc format or online through various illegal means. So, is Heavy Metal FAKK2 worth hunting down? Or should it remain forever sealed away for only those willing enough to dig deep into PC gaming's B-movie-based schlock? We begin our journey with a brief recap of the straight-to-home media animated feature, all while floating through a nice space backdrop. To summarize, a warrior woman named Julie defeated the villain Tyler, saving her sister Carrie and a pilot named Germaine. They return to live in the peaceful world of Eden, which is considered a FAKK2. Frequently assisted knight's kinship? I don't know. I swear I'll get this. Julie and the rest of the colony on Eden learned that not only does the planet of Eden hold magical powers in its water, but also they cannot age. The story starts off innocently enough with Carrie, Julie's now very pregnant sister, chatting up our heroine as she stares off into the distance, mesmerized by the sky.
Julie! Good morning!
Carrie, dear sister, you should be resting.
Nah, I'm fine. Besides, it's a fine morning to look at the sky. Even more so with this morning's news.
What news?
A big asteroid hit the shield this morning. Didn't you hear it?
No, I guess my mind must be elsewhere today.
Well, snap out of it. It's a beautiful day. And my baby knows it too. He's kicking like a creeper this morning. I think I should rest today. If you see Jermaine in town, tell him to come feed me. His baby's hungry.
I'll be sure to give your hubby a swift boot to the ass and send him on his way.
Now, if you're familiar with this magazine, you may notice something. All the women in this game are, well, stacked high up on the mountains of Eden, Julie begins exploring. The controls are based off of the Quake 3 arena controls, with a slightly modified version running with Ritual Entertainment's Uber tools. And honestly, the controls aren't bad here at all. While they're a bit dated by today's standards, I was able to move the camera easily enough, and in the control options...
Oh, tweak my knobs.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You don't like how I look?
No, you look great.
Hurry up and get started.
Yes, ma'am. Anyways, so the options screen allows full customization of controls, loading and saving your game, as well as changing video and audio features. Unfortunately, because of how dated this game is, capturing footage of it was a chore, as I was only able to get it to record in window format and at 640 by 480 even in compatibility mode. Now, I fully admit I would not consider myself a PC gamer by any means, so there's a good chance I could be doing something wrong. I was unable to get any controller to play this properly. Even my PlayStation 2 to PC USB adapter, which I've had since college, wouldn't work. So I ended up biting the bullet and playing with standard PC controls. If you're a controller-only guy like me, this may frustrate you to no end, as there are plenty of things here that are archaic by today's standards that a controller makes so much easier. For example, weapons. By pressing keys 1 through 6, you can access swords, projectiles like handguns, Uzis, crossbows, and slingshots, as well as shields, shotguns, flamethrowers, a gun that shoots bees that protect you. Yeah, no joke. And this gun. This is like the most useless gun in the game, until the very end. There's also potions that you can get, but you can only stock one at a time, which was frustrating because I'd constantly run into situations where I already had the potion they were trying to give me. You can carry several weapons like the swords and basic projectile attacks in one hand and a shield in the other. By scrolling with a mouse wheel, it gives you slightly easier access, but the problem is choosing different weapons when in a skirmish with an enemy. Utilizing walls and corners helps quite a bit with this, but really I just wanted a controller because I felt more comfortable with one. You start scouring the area, speaking to the townsfolk, and woof, these people are ugly. Character models here are impressive for their time, with fully motion animated mouth movement.
You're filling these children's heads with visions of grandeur. You make the past sound like a fairy tale.
I relate the tale only as I remember it.
But some characters just look like the Canadians on South Park, like this freak of nature.
It might have something to do with that rock you gave me, Julie. There are too many of them to fight.
It sounds like someone's doing a really odd Stan Lee impression, but then you remember it's so terrifying because it's coming out of this face. Yeesh. Most of the voice actors ham it up, and rightfully so. This is a cheesy premise, and is absolutely the perfect vehicle for its star, Julie, voiced and modeled after Queen of the B-movies herself, Julie Strain. This tall, buxom Amazon proved to be a hit in B-movie roles, as she was a huge deal back in the 90s, eventually marrying Kevin Eastman. For those of you not familiar, he not only co-wrote this story that this was based on, called The Melting Pot, but also was the owner of Heavy Metal magazine at the time. Still not ringing a bell? He co-created the Ninja Turtles. There you go, I knew I could get you there. Anyways, the Heavy Metal 2000 and FAK2 project essentially served as a platform for her to take part in, both in voice acting her parts, to being modeled for the role in real life, and boy did she look the part.
When I found out they wanted to make a video game of me, I was super excited. I think it's something I always dreamed of, to be a comic book hero to begin with, but I was always very jealous of that Tomb Raider chick, because really she's not even a real person. I'm sure there's models that model after her, but I'm a real person, and I fought off a killer in my home with my bare hands before. So now I get to show it, I get to do it, I get to have kids making me do fun things and jump over people and shoot them and blast them and kill them, and get to wear funky costumes and go in different worlds that you could never go into in real movies. So I'm very excited about it, and I can't wait to see more.
Feeling aroused, kinky knockers? Tell me about it. Some of the outfits Julie puts on are so ridiculous, it's clear that they were meant to titillate, and I'd say mission accomplished. But what kills me is how ridiculous the scenarios are for her acquiring these costumes. In one instance, she's dragged underwater and somehow her bodysuit is ripped in the most provocative of places. Okay, then she finds this little number to replace her ripped duds. Then she tries to accessorize with her weapons.
Ah, this outfit will match my shield.
Like, why is that something to think about during this time of utter chaos on Eden? But you know what? Now that I look at it, that shield does go well with the leggings and boots on top. Work it, girl!
I guess everybody can't handle me.
Strange rocks began to land on Eden, and Julie tries to do her best to save the people of Eden from the main threat this time around. An unknown alien force is attempting to invade Eden, breaking through the planet's shields. Julie manages to fix them after going underground, then heading up to the shield. The game will throw various puzzles at you that are fairly easy to figure out, as most of them are trial and error and involve flipping switches, turning valves, or pushing certain objects. FAK2 also allows Julie to climb across monkey bars, press your back against the wall, and scale across thin platforms, as well as crouch down and crawl through tight spots. The range of movement is quite versatile, despite the rope climbing being tough to get used to, as you don't do it often enough. I mentally switched the buttons around pretty frequently, pressing the wrong button to jump off. I would end up dropping to my death, and I'd say this is more user error on my end than anything. There's also times where certain objects will light up, signifying importance. Some of these are well thought out traps to take out harder to defeat enemies with things like logs or boulders. Ouch! Combat in this game is a mixed bag. You'll certainly be doing a lot of it, but a lot of times it's just about figuring out what weapon an enemy is weak against and using it to the best of your abilities. Sometimes it de-evolves into spray and pray tactics, of just rotating around enemies and hitting them, or memorizing block patterns with a shield to avoid damage in between getting your shots in. It works well when it works. Platforming reminded me of Castlevania 64. Now, whoa, before you go begin jumping ship, I will say that this is much easier to work with. Jumping to a platform, you would want to try to line up with a flat edge so you can pull yourself up with the W key. Jumping is mostly accurate, and the game flows well enough so that I never found platforming to be too tedious, aside from a specific mission later in the game, which is honestly the hardest part of the entire experience. You'll be going through these 4 different temples, gathering various items to use in the next temple. They're each based on different elements like water and wind, but the one in the fire temple is mind-numbingly hard. You're supposed to follow these 2 floating blue ladies so you know which way to go, as the other platforms will drop and immediately kill you. There's 4 different switches that you have to hit, all while dodging flaming dive-bombing birds, specters that drain your magic, and creepy alien skeletons shooting rockets and machine guns. Between difficult platforming, dodging enemies, and knowing who and when to strike, as well as making sure you're following the blue spirits, this can prove to be quite the challenge. Up at the top left of the screen, you'll have your red health bar and a blue magic bar. The blue bar can be refilled by the clean water of the world of Eden. Well, except for this waterfall level where you spend a good chunk of time in water. Why this water doesn't heal your magic abilities is beyond me, as there's no sign of any toxins. There's plenty of sights to be seen in levels, with environments ranging from underground sewers to outdoor mountains and swamps to dungeons. There's plenty of secrets too, with tons of weapons to pick up along with some armor which remains mostly useless, other than extending your combos with your sword slashes. Pressing and holding the right mouse key will enable a sword combo, which can be implemented with the left mouse button if timed just right. Magic is mostly used with either the flame or lightning swords. Julie runs into, this guy again. Ugh. His name is Otto, and he's kind of the town tinkerer. Tinkerer. The 2 of them learn that the alien race invading is called Gith.
To achieve this end, Gith requires a pure soul of god-killer lineage to conceive his apocalypse.
Dear gods, they want the heart of the we.
I'm sorry, the what? Did you just say the we? So the mission becomes to stop the Gith from taking over the heart of the Wii, as it can bring the universe into turmoil. Julie is tasked with invading the swamps to search for Gruff.
Are you Gruff?
Oh, you are a sly one, aren't you?
Otto sent me.
Oh, well, that's a brazzleberry of a different color, isn't it?
I've come seeking the heart of the Wii. Otto told me you know where I can find it.
Ha! Otto! Heh! The heart! Heh! Whoa, ho, ho, ho! Baby, that's a lot for a first date!
Okay, so a stereotypical Jamaican version of Yoda? Gruff is able to transport Julie to the Temple of the Wii, albeit with an all-new, barely there costume change, to find items that will bring her closer to a final showdown. Musically, there's not a lot to appreciate here. Most of the music is just background mush, a mix of orchestral, techno, and industrial, along with some heavy metal squeals and wails. I think there's good use of sound effects and stereo panning here, but ultimately the music is more miss than hit. Thankfully, my good friends Diego and Retro Shred have provided us some Heavy Metal Tunage to absorb instead, so I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard so far. Heavy Metal FAKK2 actually stands for Heavy Metal Federation Assigned Ketogenic Kill Zone to the second level. Oh, really? Like, who would have guessed anything close to that? Heavy Metal FAKK2 is certainly a product of its time, trapped in potential existence limbo due to copyright issues which prevent it from being re-released on Steam or GOG services with updated control and resolution support. While I don't think FAKK2 is a perfect game, it's definitely the best game based on the franchise, beating out the Dreamcast-era Heavy Metal Geomatrix. It's completely playable, and while I got frustrated at points, I was having fun all the way throughout. Except for that damn fire temple, there are patches, as well as some unreleased levels that some of the development team managed to leak out afterwards. But honestly, this looks to be a situation where Heavy Metal FAKK2, much like its parent franchise, will remain difficult to enjoy yet always remembered, thanks to a cult following. If you're looking for something campy to play, FAKK2 might be worth your while.
You think you're done, huh?
Well, yeah, I think I've said my piece, but I've got a hint that Metal Nay is not done just yet.
Oh, tweak my knobs.
And we're done here. Thank you to the following patrons. Your support means the world to me. Want more Dude You Haven't Played This Game? Make sure to stay subscribed to the channel and check out these videos enclosed below. As always, thanks for watching.